My son now gets to grow up with my best friend's son, and I'm constantly calling him Mr. Zach, which now even when our kids are not around, I'm like, hey, Mr. Zach, it's good to see you. Honey, can you check in with Mr. Zach? So thank you, Mr. Zach.
You're welcome.
I'm jealous of your new relationship. Congratulations on your new French husband. Very chivalrous. I felt very wooed. I don't know about you guys. Watching the jacket come off, hearing you speak in French. Very good. Very good. I almost have to take off my jacket just talking about it again. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming today. I appreciate it a great deal. I think time is extraordinarily important. I'm very grateful for time. I have time tattooed on my body. You only get so much of it. They can't print more of it. So I believe that meetings should be minimal and always lead to movement. You said you have 10-minute accountability calls. I love it. Be efficient. Move on. Don't act like you're working. Don't overtrain. My lovely wife and I helped 100% of our team make over $100,000 in their first year in real estate. A lot of people say, oh, how did you do it? How did you do it? How did you have such success with these people? And the thing is I really believe that I'm a mirror. People come to me and they think, oh, you helped me become a better agent, or you helped me become a better X, Y, and Z. And I just show them what they were already capable of, what they already had within them, and I give them the courage to rise above their current situations. I work with a lot of single moms. I love my single moms. I love people that have a reason.
I actually have a real husband.
No, I'm just saying that when we started there, and if you have a real husband or French husband, I'm not one to judge. I think that single moms have a reason to rise above fear. Immigrants have a reason to rise above fear. A lot of us growing up in the first world have no real idea or concept of what rising above fear is until we are confronted with it directly in our life. It's shattered. It's shattered. And that's okay. Hey, shut up! I'm talking. Okay, sorry about that. I'm just kidding. You don't have to shut up. You guys can keep talking. But what I'm saying is very important. Just ask me. Okay, so I'm grateful for your time. There's a great book by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now. And he talks about every day having a beggar come up and say, hey, can I have some money? Can I have some money? Can I have some money? And he's sitting on a box. And one day he says, I don't have any money for you. Have you looked inside the box? And he realizes that the box was full of gold all this time. And I think that for me, I look into people and I say, why are you waiting for Superman? Why are you waiting to be saved? Why do you not think that you're worthy of a cape? And so I help people find their box of gold that they've been sitting on this whole time. I had somebody come up at the most recent one of these and say, hey, what are your 3-year goals? Like it was like this great question that was going to stump me. And I said, I don't even know if I'm going to be alive in 3 years. I'm a combat veteran. How's that for a dark transition? Where are my veterans at? There you go. My first responders. Thank you guys. So I was a machine gunner. They didn't hire me to go be peaceful for the Marine Corps. They hired me to be violent. And I came to terms with mortality out there very quickly. And I think that here in the first world, we don't necessarily come to grips with mortality. And so we're so afraid. We're so afraid. What would you do if fear was not an issue? What would you do with your day if you were not afraid, if you could rise above that? Who here has ever been afraid? Yes. Thank you guys for your honesty.
What do you say?
Who here has ever been afraid? Okay, so I sat on top.
Afraid of you.
Hey, that's understandable. I get that a lot. That's okay. You don't need to be afraid of me. When I sat on top of a hill called St. Mary's Hill in Afghanistan, I was in part of a huge firefight. where we were being shot at, me and one other, a sniper and I was a machine gunner, from 3 different medium machine gun posts. And it wasn't during the firefights that I was afraid, it was during the lulls in between the firefights. And so I balled up my hand in front of my face and I laid into that trigger because I knew that my guys that had just got hit by an IED depended on me staying alive as long as possible. A lot of people have a mentality where they say, I went to Afghanistan, I went to Iraq, I was already dead. I counted myself as dead the moment that I showed up. I have an entirely different mentality. I refuse to let anyone count me out. I refuse to let anyone count me out because that means that the people around me are going to be affected. When you refuse to let everyone count you out because other people are depending on you, you might understand why I say that I have a love and a respect for single moms. I was raised by a single mom. I grew up in Section 8 housing. I grew up not having much, and so I understand what it means to swipe cards and get groceries and how much that means to somebody trying to get by. I remember being extraordinarily afraid when I was in 6th grade, and my mom started working 3 jobs, so she was gone 6 nights a week. I had 2 younger sisters. John Wayne said, courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway. That's grit. That's grit. And a lot of us wonder whether or not we have grit. We wonder whether or not we'd be able to step in for our children if we needed to, or our neighbor, or ourselves. And I'm going to tell you guys, I don't see a lot of people that don't have grit. Grit is something that in the trenches you find it. In the trenches you find it. When life has counted you out, you find grit. But what about will? What about not just being extraordinarily good at being reactive to everything that's going on around you, but responding with grace? Standing above your current situation and rising above fear. Balling up your fist in front of your face, saying, don't count me up. Having some courage and saddling up anyway. So when somebody says to me, what are your 3-year goals? I say, I don't have 3-year goals. I don't know if I'm going to be alive in 3 years. But what I do have I have daily goals. Am I a better man at the end of the day than I was yesterday? Have I given more than I've taken? These are the simple things. These are the simple things. This is a metric with which you should judge yourself. Am I better than I was yesterday? Because if you continue to be better than the person that you were yesterday, and give yourself some grace on that, your life is going to improve naturally. A lot of people talk about fear. I don't function in that space. I try to as little as possible. And because of that, I seek love. I switched brokerages 7 times in 3 years. 7 times. I don't mess around at all. I'm looking for value.
Take it from whoever's willing to give it.
And I'm going to tell you right now, a broker never got me paid. A broker never put food on my family's table.
Amen.
I'm telling you that right now. A broker, when I closed 7 escrows in my 2nd month in real estate, and I made $35,000, the broker took 18. The broker didn't hand me a single deal. The broker didn't answer my phone calls when I had them. I went into the office and I was like, can you help me? How do I write an RPA? Oh my God, I got another one. How do I write a listing contract? It was intense, but I figured it out, and I wasn't afraid to say, you know what, I don't know the answer to that question right now, but let me get you an answer, and I will get you an answer. Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway. Do you think that was a little bit scary opening 7 escrows in my 2nd month? But I just said yes. I came into this business in January of 2014. 3 months later, or 3 months earlier, I left the Marine Corps with a fused and reconstructed ankle. I had a family to support. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be successful. I didn't listen to the people around the water cooler. They're telling me, you'll never be successful in your first year. Don't expect to make money in your first 6 months. That's negativity. You put that juju off on someone else, Ricky Bobby. That's not for me. So I didn't know enough, but then when I looked at how much I got paid, And I was like, that's super cool. But then I looked at how much my broker got paid, and I was like, pump the freaking brakes, bro. And I went up to my broker and I said, I'd like to meet with you. And he ignored me for 2 weeks.
What?
That's okay, that's okay. He had other things going on. You can talk to the guy who set up an escrow in the second month. So I said, I really need to justify that number. I really need to justify that number. I went looking for value. I went looking for reciprocity. Because what you appreciate, appreciates. What you appreciate, appreciates. Mother Teresa said, if you want to make the world a better place, go home and love your family. What you appreciate, appreciates. Love your wife, she might love you a little bit more. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you that from a place of loss. From a person that has lost everything. That had the big 28-person team. That was helping everybody make over $100,000 in a year. That was making a broker $230,000. That helped start a company that I was a 25% owner in. Bring it from 40, 50 agents to 150 plus. And then in about a year, and I never got paid. I never got paid. Even as an owner, I never got paid. That's okay. That's okay. I've learned so much because I've gone looking for my tribe. Sebastian Junger wrote an excellent book called Tribe. Has anybody read it? Okay, he described your tribe as a group of people that you would feel compelled to share the last of your food with. He remembers drifting through and not having much. He had a little bit of food, and he had a man walk up to him who didn't have anything, who was homeless, and give him the food that he had picked up that morning that they were giving away. He said he didn't know why this man shared his food with him. I share my food. I've done it for a long time. I've given people all of my food. I've cut checks for $6,500 to agents that left my team 3 weeks later. I know what it's like to lose. I know what it's like to overgive. Give from a place, not out of balance, but desperately looking to find reciprocity. David Golden contacted me, and he said, hey, I think you should check out EXP. And I said, David, not right now. I'm not even sure I want to practice real estate anymore. I'm exhausted. I think I'm going to go work in nonprofit for a while. And it doesn't pay. It doesn't pay. You can't monetize being a good person. You can't monetize being a good person, unfortunately. So you got to find a way to get paid. You got to find a way to get that 3-hour work week so that you could do with your time what you want to do. That's financial freedom. Can you do what you want to do with your time tomorrow? If you can't, you are not financially free. You are not free. You are transactional. What was he said earlier about being transactional? Anyway, it doesn't matter what the economy is doing. If you are set up, you are making money regardless. There's less fear there, more room for love. So, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that sheet that you have sitting there in front of you. That is a program that was developed for revenue share. I put this together to explain it to everybody, and I'm going to keep this relatively brief. Oh, shut up about EXP, Serpa. Okay, but how many of you guys are here with EXP? Hands up? Yes, fantastic. That's what I was kind of looking for because I wrote this for EXP agents. So anybody who's not with EXP, you guys can earmuffs for a second. You guys don't have to listen. But less than 5% of agents at EXP have brought on 10 or more agents. Less than 5%. That's pretty bad for the whole entire company full of recruiters, right? That's pretty bad. 95% of people are just here practicing real estate. That's cool. That's why I came to EXP. I told Golden, I said, I don't want to recruit anybody. I'm sick of human beings. I just want to sell my own real estate with my wife and be done with everything else. Okay, I did the 28-person team. I did all of that. It was exhausting. I loved most of it. I love the people. I'm grateful for the experience. I just don't ever want to do it again. Why? Because there are 3 things that you will never be able to sell again. I'm going to tell you this. This is the truth. A lot of people are going to tell you otherwise. You will never be able to sell your 7-figure team again. There are very few markets where you'll be able to do it. Why? Because the figurehead and the systems are only as good as the figurehead that is running it. And a lot of people don't want to buy a 7-figure team. They want to build a team, right? That ship is sailed for a lot of people. A lot of people, that ship is sailed. Okay, 2, selling your book of business. 7 leads were generated in America for every closed transaction. 7. We don't have a lead generation problem. We have a lead conversion problem. And the third thing that you will never be able to sell is your brokerage. Why? Because most brokers are broke. They're using ancillary services to help them make money. Escrow, lending, etc. And I understand that. When you're only charging somebody like $12 a transaction to practice real estate, you've got to make money somewhere else. That's okay. That's okay. So this is the way that we share our food. This is the way that we share our food. David Golden told me about it, and I was like, leave me alone, David Golden. I'm going to go do nonprofits. I'm going to go help homeless veterans 100% of the time and help people experience post-traumatic growth. That's cool. That's going to be my volunteer job when I get a 4-hour work week, and then I can do everything else I want to do. Okay, now, what is a reasonable amount of people that you can bring into a company in 6 months, let's say? 5. Okay. Anybody else? 5? 5, we're all comfortable with that. That feels cool. Okay, good. Okay, so let's say 10 in a year then. 10 in a year. So I like working with that because that's reasonable. A lot of people have seen the EXP revenue share. They have somebody talking, I've spent the first 4 months of the year on a yacht circling Tahiti and blah, blah, blah. And I encourage you to get 500 agents in your downline. I'm like, 500? Holy crap, I'm trying to pay off my minivan. Okay, so 10, I could digest 10. 10 is good, right? Okay, so 10. So 10 on your front line, that's all what all these stars are for. So these are the agents that you know that have been going with you from brokerage to brokerage, maybe not 7 times in 3 years like me, but maybe a little bit more reasonable. So these are the agents that follow you, okay? Each one of these agents, instead of the $2,800 or the $16,000 of the cap going to a broker, it gets split up for people who have activated their revenue share amongst the people that have brought me into the company or are mentoring me and helping me out. David Golden has helped me a tremendous amount. I love sharing my food with David Golden. I love even more that my portion of the food isn't being affected, but it's being taken out of the broker's portion of the food. That's even better for me. Because then I'm not sharing my food, I'm sharing the broker's food. Okay, so 10 times 2,800 is what? 28,000. Where were you educated? Okay, so 28,000 annually. And that's if they're capping. They do 5 or 6 transactions or whatnot. They're capping, and that's off the top, okay? So that's anyway, we're not gonna go into that. So 28,000. Now let's say those 10 go out, and over the course of the next year or so, they get 10. So 10 times 10 is?
100.
Julie Youngblood, I appreciate you. 100. Now, if those 100, now that's on your second level, because you brought in 10 agents, so you have access to your second level. So I bring in this handsome gentleman. He joins my team. I have access to 2,800 of the broker share immediately. Now, once I have 10 agents, and he goes out and he starts recruiting, now we're 3 levels deep, or 2 levels deep. Now, he brings in her, and then she goes out and she recruits, that's 3 levels. That's how that works, okay? So 10 times 10, we're 2 levels deep. 100 times 2, 100 times 3,200 is? 320,000. So on your first level, 10 people times 2,800 is 28,000. On your second level, those 10 went out and got 10. So you've got 100 times 3,200, which is 320,000. How many people made over 320,000 last year in real estate? Besides Julie. I'm just kidding. Good for you. Excellent. Excellent. I made like 600,000 a year. I don't know where any of it is, but that's how much I made. So 28,000 plus 320,000. Now this is where it really gets intense. And this is just if you have 10 people, because this is the third level. Those 100 people go out and they get 10. What is that? 1,000. Okay? Times 2,000 is 2 million. That's where most people are like, this is bull crap. I'm done with this. Too good to be true. And then they go and they do something else for 3 or 4 months. Okay. 28,000, first level, power of 10. 320,000, second level, power of 10. 2 million, third level, power of 10. Bringing in 10 agents. David, I'm not a recruiter. Have some uncomfortable conversations. Be willing to be afraid. Be willing to be uncomfortable. Because when I talked to Darren Campbell about EXP, I didn't think in a million years that he was going to come over. Darren's here. I'm here. That's okay. We had a meeting of the minds. We're talking about coaching. We're talking about mentorship and how we could help more people. I said, have you heard about EXP? What's EXP? Introduced him to the company. He had a conversation with some other people. Next thing you know, he wants to go off and he wants to bring on 100 people. And he's going to tell his story. But if you want to be the person that really wants to dig deep and do the R word that no one wants to talk about, which is recruit, right? 100 people, 100 agents that you want to network with, that you want to help them change their lives, that you want to tell them stop making a broker rich and start helping your family to eat, come over to EXP, be an island. Be Amazon. Forget Blockbuster. Okay? Forget Blockbuster. I worked at Blockbuster in 2003. That was rough. I was busy selling movie passes. It was the dream job for a nerd. All I did was like alphabetize things and like put them away and talk about movies. It was great. That went away, regardless of how I felt about it. So whether it's 2 million or 320,000 or half of that, would that be significant? I'm not telling you to buy a Lamborghini. I'm not telling you to go circle Haiti for the first 4 months of next year. But what I'm telling you is I want to pay off my minivan. I want to pay off my house in the suburbs. And I want to help other people understand the importance of ownership in their business. Ownership. Not helping a bunch of other people get rich. Sharing your food. Feeling compelled to share your food. I love that when I close a transaction, this man gets paid. I love it. I love that when I close a transaction, Rosie Rodriguez gets paid. I love it. We're sharing our food. We're eating together. When my boat rises, David Golden's boat rises. It's so cool. I love it. I'm grateful for EXP. I'm grateful for my tribe. I'm grateful for Mr. Campbell. I'm grateful for Julie Youngblood hanging out and listening to all this crap. And I'm grateful for everybody in here taking the time today to be here, because you guys could have been a million other places. So thank you.